Hi! In this video I wanted to talk about love because for me love is the most important energy that I am living on this planet here, and from what I see in my meditations it is also the most important energy to develop within each one of us. I have been very closely following over the last 4.5 years of what goes on in the world, health-wise and politically. And I have seen a lot of very, very beautiful people talk about a lot of important aspects of life, such as health and economy, politics, and all the lies and deceit that is happening within there. And so somewhere underneath I have always been waiting for somebody to talk about love, and talk about what is really going on, what we normally consider spiritual, and which is normally covered by the church, but the church has very strong own agenda. So then I realized that my whole life really has been guided in such a way that I had to look into what really is love, and it started very early on, and I'm going to talk about that soon. And so I looked into, what can I contribute to the consciousness in that way. And I heard inside that it said, talk about love, talk about consciousness, talk about knowledge, talk about wisdom, talk about health, talk about spirit, talk about silence, talk about meditation. So these things very strongly motivate me. And at the same time, where I saw these keywords of what to talk about, it also said not to ever forget how to put that into practical life. How can you live it? So if you live love, what do you do? If you live your purest consciousness, what do you do? How does that change your life, and what might be the energies that you have to deal with when you start changing yourself? So when you start changing yourself, a really good way to start is that you go in and you start to absolutely observe every little bit that is inside of you. So you look at what do you think, what you feel, and you start looking at how you act and also what is the result of your actions. That's a really good starting point. The way it is, the way I see it is that we are unlimited, absolute, everything included consciousness. When you go deeper inside of you, you come to a point where you see that there is no body. Physically speaking, there is no body, there is just pure energy. And you have the ability to really free yourself of all these binding thoughts and ideas and emotions that you usually experience. And you can, in a way, jump into this pool of absolute, beautiful, powerful, all-including energies and come back out and change. Means that things that you are doing and you normally think you cannot change that, this is the way I am, I cannot change my thinking, I can't change my feelings. Yes, you do, you can do that, but it takes the effort consciously chosen from your side to do that. And for some people it's very, very easy, for some people it's not that easy at all. But the point here is that it is possible to do it. So when you go and you look at love, you have to examine what actually is love. When we are being brought up, we learn normally that love is a come and go emotion. And these words come and go and emotion are very important and misleading, because underneath everything you are love. You don't come and go. That's what you are. That's what this whole existence is all about. Please have a look at that for a moment. The whole existence is love. It's made from love, for love. It doesn't come and go. And it is not an emotion. It is a state of being. So the distinction there is very important, because an emotion, as we all accept and we are led to believe that's the way it is, an emotion is something that comes and it goes. Especially when we're younger, and we fall in love all over the place. We are told, well, that'll pass, she's just in that period right now, she just can't see very clearly, she's just in love. It'll pass, they come back to reality. The thing is that the reality that we come back to is absolutely computed into us. It is not a natural state of being. The natural state of being is the love. And the way we are living is a computed program that we are led to believe is real, which it is not. So the point here is that feeling or state of love is real because you can actually observe it in yourself and in other people. And it's very important to see that that is the truth, that love is so powerful you cannot push it aside all the time. Every now and then situations occur in your life where love suddenly comes up and you feel, wow, I love this, I love what I have said, I love what she has said, I love her, I love him. So this sensation inside, that love, is a very, very primal sensation that we experience here while we have a body. And it's really important to develop this so that you don't just say, oh, he is in love, it's going to go away soon. No, what we need to do is we would need to see that this is the state, the very, very basic state of being. This is life on earth expressing itself through love. So realizing this is really, really, really important, because when you realize it, you bring it up to your front consciousness and you can start changing the actions in your life so that you act more and more loving, you act more and more truthful, which comes out of the love, more and more powerful, because love is an enormous power. So you start changing your whole being, so your being becomes a being of love. Now I wanted to tell you the story of what happened in my life with love. How do I get into the theme of love in the first place? So when I was 6 years old, I woke up one morning, my mother woke me up, and then she said that, Michael, something happened last night, your father died. And then, I let that in and I felt, okay, my father is dead. So I went to the room where he was lying still, and then I saw this body there which was absolutely grey. And I noticed that there's not much happening inside of me. I heard that, it is a sad situation and, it is an upsetting situation. And I didn't have anything of that inside. But what happened was that I saw my father lying there and he did not anymore feel to be there at all. There was a body lying there. I knew that in the evening before he was alive, normal life phase. The next day he was not alive anymore. So instead of a big emotional reaction, what got triggered inside of me was that I was wondering, what is this life all about? One day you're here, the next day you're not here anymore. A very strange sensation. And then I realized it can happen to me. So, I sat down and I looked, okay, now, what is really important? Why do I have a body, that can die? And then I looked into the different things that I was told are important. Money was the first. We didn't have a lot of money, so it wasn't really an issue for me. I felt really good. I had a great time as a boy growing up. But money wasn't important. So next thing was owning things. And then I figured, no, owning things is also not important because it gets taken away, when I die. Then I thought that maybe it's my body, maybe, I have to really be in my body and connected to my body and then just really live. That made more sense, but it still was very, very puzzling all. And then the next thing that I remember was that I went to school, first school days, 6 years old also. And I opened the classroom door and there were a lot of girls there. And I was not used to girls at all. I grew up as a single boy. And the energy that came with the girls was just very overwhelming to me. It was just, giggling and laughing, and doing all of these things that girls do. And the boys were very different. They were more serious. So I was much, much more attracted to the girls. And, over time then I realized that, wow, if I'm around the girls, I can't even concentrate. If I'm in classroom, what the teachers were talking about wasn't interesting at all. So, so I talked to my mom, I asked, what is this thing between boys and girls, And she just looked at me quite strangely and she said, you're going to figure it out, one day you're going to know what this is all about, just wait and see. And then it was like, yeah, thanks mom, I still don't have any answer, I don't know what that is. So I talked to boyfriends, to male friends. And they said, well, we know what it is. It's all about sex, it's the sex, and it described situations. And I figured, okay, now that might be so, but there's also something else that I feel, it goes deeper than sexuality. And so over the years, I hung out mostly with girls because they were much more fascinating to me than hanging out with boys. And then as I got older, I made love a lot and, had a lot of experiences with women. And I'm really glad that I did that because I learned a huge amount. And now over the last 26 years I have been married, and then the experiences continued with the relationship with my wife, because honestly my wife is a mystery to me. That's all I can say, that what she comes up with, what she sees, what she talks about, the way she behaves, it's mysterious. So I learn every day about that mystery, and I learn about staying open to the mystery, because something is always being communicated to me through the mystery, and it changes me, and I'm really, really glad that that happens. So now, being almost 70 years old, I have had a lot of experience with love, and I have learned that I am here to learn about love, literally. That is why I have a body, so that I could learn about love. And when I am in the state of love, I notice that my whole being is different. I think differently, I feel differently, and my body feels differently. So there is a definite relationship with love, with the energy of love, and the way I experience my being here on this planet. When I'm in love, I can talk with stars, I can talk with planets, I feel the universe in a very different way, and I feel absolutely connected to life. To such a degree that the idea that someday we are all going to die does not matter to me at all, because that is a fact. But the love that is inside of me is way bigger than that. I am love first, body next. So insights like that, they come when love actually starts to take over. It gives an internal power that is vast and huge. So that is why I have the sense it is absolutely important to practice love. Do all the other things that you want to do in your life, but please practice love. So in this last part of this recording, I wanted to talk about how you can learn more about love. So what I would recommend is that every day you take a little time period, and how much time is up to you, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever is suiting to you. You become still and you can ask yourself, what does love mean to me? How important is it? You can then also look at where you can learn more about love. So I would recommend you look at your relationship, how much love you have in your relationship, and how can you grow more love in your relationship. It's very, very important, because a lot of relationships these days are under the effects of stress in the world, economic or whatever it is. So you have to come back to love. Talk about love with your partner. Ask, what can we do to love more? When you have children, talk with the children also about love. How important it is and how it feels in the body when you are in the love sensation in the body. Also, if you have a chance, talk with your workmates about love. As funny as that might sound. So in that way, every time you talk about it, you take responsibility for love. You take a step towards creating more love in your own life, and that is very, very important. Now the second part is that you observe in yourself what you do that is away from love. So check inside your own being, how important is it to have material possessions? How important is it to have money? How important is it to have any job? How important is it to have the right job? Your life situation, is there anything there where you are leaking energy out into areas that you don't actually need to do that? And there are plenty of those situations. How much energy is caught up in fear? How much energy is caught up in worry? What else causes you stress? So when you do that, you need to be in a situation where you just observe what is going on. It's not particularly easy to do, but it is possible to do, and from where I stand, it is absolutely necessary to do that for every single being that is on the planet right now. So you examine your whole life, and then what you do is, once you get answers from your subconscious, unconscious, and from the spirit of life itself, write them down, because the way our psyche is being manipulated these days is that whenever you even have a wonderful insight, it gets very quickly covered over and you forget about it. So write it down so you know what happened in your meditation, in the time that you spent with the love inside of you. That is very important. So you have a tiny little book where you can read, wow, yesterday I saw this, yesterday evening for instance I saw that, today in the morning I saw this. And you can share that with your wife, you can share it with your children if you can get them interested enough. So these are the practical things that you can do. And the beautiful thing about that is that you can actually do it, because a lot of the situations that have been created in the world, you don't have a direct effect on. What happens politically, what happens economically, you don't really have a direct effect on it. But what happens in your own psyche, the way you act, the way you speak, the way you look, the way you behave, you have a direct influence on it. Straight away. So when you start choosing love as the main energy that you act and think and feel from, your life will change. And that is a promise. So I thank you very much for listening to this, and I trust that at some stage in the future we might see face to face.